Hello and welcome to the Wrestle2 live stream of night one of the 2020 G1 Climax with me, Andy Datson, and there he is, Tempest, who actually knows about Japanese wrestling. That's why he's here. Oh, I'm going to turn that off because that's me talking in the background too. Yes, we will be watching along with night one of the G1 Climax, which Tempest features what matches, please?
Well, Andy Datson, tonight's G1 Climax event is going to feature what I presume will be the opening match of the tournament of Yujiro Takahashi versus Will Ospreay. It will feature Tai Chi versus Jeff Cobb. It will feature Minoru Suzuki versus goddamn, I can't speak already.
Come on, Tempest.
I know. Hey, it is 4 a.m. here, so I'm going to try my best. I've got my coffee drink prepared.
Coffee drink sounds like something you could kind of get at a very cheap deli, which wasn't actually coffee. It's like when they say it's a juice drink, which actually means it's got like 1% fruit in it.
Yes, we'll see if this can keep me awake. Anywho, Tomohiro Ishii versus Minoru Suzuki is the match, followed by Shingo Takagi versus Jay White, and the main event of Kazuchika Okada versus Kota Ibushi, in a main event rematch of last year's A Block final and this year's Wrestle Kingdom 14 Day 1 main event.
That is quite a lineup. I don't know if everyone who's watching has seen. I'm assuming they have. Otherwise, they probably wouldn't be watching. But particularly Block A is utterly ridiculous in terms of sheer talent. It is possibly, now correct me if I'm wrong, but possibly one of the most stacked in many years.
There always seems to be like one card per year, like one block every year stands out a little bit more than the other. Last year it was the A block again, but I'm pretty sure this year's A block is even better. You know, last year had a number of the same faces like Okada, Ospreay, Ibushi were all in the same block with Tanahashi. But this year you've got all of those names, I believe. I think Tanahashi might be in the other block. In fact, he is. But you've got Okada, Ibushi, Ospreay, but also Jay White, also Ishii, also Suzuki. You know, it's just ridiculous. Shingo Takagi. I mean, most of those matches are going to be ones that we haven't seen before. You know, Okada and Takagi haven't wrestled to this point in New Japan. Takagi and Jay White have had very limited interactions so far. And then you've got the rematches of the matches that we know will be good. You know, Takagi against Ospreay is the best of the Super Juniors rematch from last year. Same thing with Takagi and Suzuki, Takagi and Ishii. All these matches are just going to be amazing. Shingo Takagi is one of my favorite wrestlers in the world, if you couldn't tell. Oh, but the A block is going to be just lights out.
Well, we've already had a couple of super chats in. Thank you, everyone, for sending those in. We'll be but obviously be reading all the super chats, and we'll try and flick through the comments just to see what everyone's talking about. So thank you first to Kirik, who says, it's 3 a.m. here. Why am I awake? I have to go to work tomorrow. Oh, well, I have a late shift, so I'll be fine. Yes, well, it's 9 a.m. here, so it's just 3 a.m. there. So I'm assuming he's in Central Time?
Central Time. So
yeah,
Chicago, Texas, something like that.
All right, well,
somewhere along that line.
Welcome, Kirik. And we have one from the mayor of Painesville, Dan, who is, of course, Wallow TV, saying, good morning. Man, I love New Japan. I can't wait for the wedding segment later tonight. Yes, well,
you're watching the wrong show.
All good promotions have wedding segments. There's some non-super chats, but you can saying hello everyone in the chat. Everyone's saying hello. Rob Zilla saying the creator of Jam That Jam is here. Yes, I am. Don't get enough credit for that. If it wasn't for me, WrestleTalk wouldn't exist. Christopher Jazzcat says, I sent a super chat like 9 hours ago. I'm afraid, Christopher, we haven't got that. But if you send it in a non-super chat, I will be sure to read that out. Because otherwise, that's not fair. Oh, we are getting... I thought you said there weren't any Young Lion matches. Who is that?
No, there's one. There's one Young Lion match per show. There's no undercard tag matches. So I presume this match will only be like 5 to 10 minutes long.
Because although I know Japanese wrestling relatively well, I don't know it well enough to know who these people are, especially when they have black trunks and no name bar.
Yes, it's quite all right. Well, this fellow making his way to the ring is Yota Tsuji. The one in the ring is Yuya Uemura. Personally, I think
what's your prediction?
As far as the prediction goes, I'm going to go Uemura just because I think he's better. I think he's really, really talented. You know, of the current young lions in New Japan right now, I think he's probably the best one that's still technically a young lion. Otherwise, I would have said Carl Fredericks, but I don't think he's technically a young lion anymore.
Do you know what I just realized?
What did you just realize?
I'm so used to it. There's a crowd.
Yeah.
Do you know what?
Yeah.
I guess that's because Japan has dealt with this pandemic considerably more appropriately, should we say?
Much differently than they have over here in North America, or in your neck of the woods in England.
Mm.
Yes, they've still been instructed not to make noise with their mouths to spread, unwanted germs. So it's harder for the heels to really get that kind of reaction because, like, someone will hit a low blow and there'll just be silence.
Mm.
But if a baby face does something good, there's
I do always enjoy Japanese audiences. They're very polite. We've got some other chats in from Jose Olvera saying, I really don't miss staying up so late watching this. Who do you have to win this tournament? By the way, Brian, Tempest, I'm just going to agree with you. So,
well, that's no fun.
Okay, fine. I think Tomohiro Ishii is going to finally win the IWGP Heavyweight Championship at Wrestle Kingdom.
I mean, I wouldn't be opposed to seeing it. If I was to put money on it, it's tough. I wrote the article on the website, WrestleTalk.com, of the odds everyone has to win the G1 Climax this year.
Mm.
And to me, the front runners are Kazuchika Okada coming out of the A block. He hasn't won the G1 Climax since 2014. And they need as big of a main event for Wrestle Kingdom 15 as possible, considering they're not going to have any foreign talent, or not foreign talent, but foreign fans making their way to Japan for the show, given travel bans and just, general not wanting to go to large events like that.
Mm.
So another main event rematch between Okada and Tetsuya Naito for the IWGP Heavyweight Championship, I think, is about as big of a main event as they can get for a big dome show like that. The person I have coming out of the B block right now is Evil. I think it's very in line with how New Japan books to give him a short title run to show that he's now a main event player, take it off of him to show he's not really ready, but then give him another really big win soon after that, whether that be, the New Japan Cup, which has already happened, so it won't be that. But I could easily see him winning the G1 Climax and having the third match in his trilogy with Naito in the Tokyo Dome.
Yeah. What else have we got? Christopher Jazzcat says, have a fiver to say thank you for covering New Japan. Well, hopefully we'll be covering, I wouldn't say all of the G1, but we will covering as much as possible over the next month or so. So keep an eye out for that. He's coming again to say, I love young lion matches. They are only allowed to do certain moves, so you get to see who the best is at the basics.
It's very true. I mean, I have grown to really enjoy these matches. I mean, when I started watching New Japan, it was just like, it's a bathroom break match right at the start. Like, you can just kind of settle in. If you're still a little bit drowsy, you can kind of wake up a little bit more, which might be what I'm doing right now. But it really does help show, like, which of these guys is going to be the next star.
Mm.
Not necessarily right now, although I think Uemura is the best of this current crop. But when Shota Umino was wrestling in these matches, he was one of my like top 10 favorite wrestlers in the world as a young
Yeah.
lion. And he was able to have like matches with Hiroshi Tanahashi in the
Yeah, I
New
mean,
Japan
he
Cup
got
1 year.
unusually over, didn't he?
Well, he
For
was
a young
just so
lion.
good. I don't think most of the time young lions are that good. Like a number of them end up being like really good by the time they go on excursion, but he was really good. And then they
Yeah,
put him with John Moxley too, which helped him get over his personality, which normally doesn't happen with young lions.
yeah.
So he was certainly given the ball to run with.
I mean, how often, like, let's say you have 20 young lions, how often will one of those become a main event at some point down the line in New Japan?
Well, it's hard to say because they normally don't have a crop of like 20. It's usually less so because it is so exclusive of who they let train. And most of the time you might go to the dojo, but you won't progress far enough to make it through the system to the point where you can wrestle on shows and then get to the point where you're good enough to go on excursion and then good enough to come back. Most of the people that go away and come back from excursion as young lions end up being at a top level, whether that be in the junior division or the heavyweight division. All depends on their size and their skill set and that sort of thing. Because I mean, you get someone like Hiromu Takahashi, who's possibly my favorite wrestler in the whole world. He goes away and comes back, and he's been like the face of the junior heavyweight division for like the last 3 years. So it's all a matter of just where they fit you in. Because initially Jay White came back and he was kind of like upper mid card, but he was a guy where the finisher of all young lions. Come on, Uemura, win this for me. I predicted you'd win. Prove me right.
Wait, which one is he?
He's the one who's applying the Boston Crab. Short hair.
Right, okay. We got some more questions. We got someone asking where the English commentary is. I don't think there is any at the moment.
No.
I know Kevin Kelly said there would be. I believe someone suggested it's going to be added at a later date for replays.
That is correct.
So
yes.
I'm afraid the English commentary you're going to get is going to be from us. So
I'm not as good as Kevin Kelly, but I will try.
No. Well, no. Well, I mean, I think you're better. Izoel Irizarry has asked, Tempest, do you like Stardom wrestling?
I do. I don't get a chance to watch enough of it just because there aren't enough hours in the day. But I mean, everything that I see of it, I've enjoyed. When you see people who come over to North America and wrestle in matches, and Uemura won, by the way.
Yes, he did.
So I'm 1-0 in my predictions. When you see people come over to the United States, people like Asuka, people like Kairi Sane, people like Io Shirai, stuff like that. Like most of them work in Stardom. And so getting to watch like all of them all together, and obviously, the presentation of Stardom is going to be better than the presentation of them in WWE most of the time, just because they don't have to do silly hokey storylines and
they can
actually
speak
like that.
Their native language, and therefore they don't have to do. I'm Japanese. I'm going to shout at in your face in Japanese.
What a novel concept it is. Well, I do enjoy it. I wish I had more time to watch it, and I wish it was watched by more people. Like New Japan has kind of come to be.
Kirik has asked which one of us is going to be the Chris Charlton to translate everything. I mean, having studied languages at university, not Japanese, but I did study a language at university, so I can translate probably pretty much word for word. So right now, he's saying, "Oh, welcome to the G1. Here's a wrestler," and it's Juice Robinson. No, it's not. It's Yujiro Takahashi. I just saw Juice.
I'm pretty sure he just said this match is set for one fall with a 30-minute time limit.
No. Trust me, I know what I'm talking about.
What do I know, though? What do I know?
A couple of people asking, what do you think of the return of Will Ospreay?
Well, it'll be interesting to see. I know he's just been working out like crazy,
Mm.
during the pandemic. And typically when a high flying wrestler puts on weight, they, their matches are impacted by it. I think Ospreay is good enough that it shouldn't affect the quality of his matches, but it might affect what's going to be done in them.
Yeah.
And I mean, you add him to this stacked A block, I think he's just going to have like quality match after quality match. If he can have a good match right now with Yujiro Takahashi, my hat goes off to him, because I mean,
Yeah.
Okada couldn't.
Yes. No. Well, we already got Christopher Jazzcat saying Takahashi's boring, that his theme slaps. I'm assuming slaps is a good thing.
It is.
I'm down with the kid. Like I'm translating other things as well. A couple of people are asking whether we think Bea Priestley is going to end up in Stardom, or whether once all this is over, she's just going to head back to AEW, or perhaps both, which I think is a distinct possibility.
Yeah, I think it is entirely possible that she will be in both. I know right now, Ospreay going to New Japan likely means he'll be staying in Japan for at least a little while.
Well, I mean, he's got the contract, so
yeah, he's got a contract, and he was going to be living there anyway. But being stuck in Japan during a pandemic might be a little bit more difficult than going home to Britain. So
yes, well, obviously, I've bumped elbows with him earlier this year at our No Fans Monday show. He was a nice bloke.
Does that not feel like an eternity ago?
It does. It feels like some days it feels like it was yesterday, because time goes so quickly. Other times it feels like it was 8 years ago, because time has equally gone just as slowly. And we just received the news yesterday that the UK government is preparing for a second huge wave of cases. So that's fun. So I'm looking forward to that. It's almost like everyone going to the beach on those days it was sunny wasn't a good idea. But I won't claim that, because I'm not a scientist.
Yes, the Ontario government has already, started putting limitations on things, and putting the amount of people that can hang out in a public space back down to 10 indoors and 25 outdoors. You still see them sending all of the children to school, which is a little baffling, because there's more than 10 people in a classroom. But we're here to talk about wrestling and not politics.
As you can tell, by the way, that Tempest here is our resident. I mean, we obviously want to add diversity to the channel. So obviously, as you can see, he's Mexican. So he will be, if there's any Spanish commentary as well, we'll be able to translate that.
Sí, señor.
Right, so yes, it is Takahashi against Ospreay just underway. One quick super chat before we watch the match properly. Another one from Jazz Cat. Thank you, Christopher, for all your support. I'm marking out, bro. I never realized how much I've missed Ospreay until I heard the first notes of his theme. I think you are not alone. And look at him go. He hasn't missed a step, although that is not a good haircut. In fact, the hair in this match is generally pretty bad. The referee is making up for it with a perfectly normal haircut.
Yes, Ospreay looks like he's got a fresh dye job.
Yes.
But yes, Ospreay's theme is still excellent. I love it. Elevated, I think, is one of the best themes in New Japan, or in wrestling in general as well. But for any of those, I don't think a whole lot of people are staying up or waking up early to watch New Japan if they don't know how the G1 Climax works. But in case someone comes back and watches this stream later, the G1 Climax is a tournament that's separated into 2 blocks, where each block will have 10 participants, and they will compete in a round-robin tournament. Each win by a wrestler will earn them 2 points. A loss earns you 0 points, and a draw earns you 1 point. That's time limit draw. If it's a double count out or something like that, no points. At the end of A block and B block action, the wrestlers in each block with the most points will face each other in the final, and the winner gets a championship match at Wrestle Kingdom 15 on January 4th in the Tokyo Dome. That just about covers everything.
So What is it that makes everyone think Takahashi's boring? Does he just not got a moveset?
He's just not very good. He's like, it's been a really long time since he's been anything important in New Japan. And honestly, like, when he was announced for this tournament, he was the only person where I was like, oh no. That's how I felt when Tai Chi was announced last year, but at least Tai Chi had like a couple good matches. I don't think
we
Takahashi's
just had a
going to
comment
have that.
about Tai Chi. Someone said the wrong Takahashi is in the G1. Yujiro is hopeless. Why isn't Hiromu in? Also, why is Tai Chi in? I agree. I mean, I've never been a big fan of Tai Chi. I think I don't know why he just looks weird.
Yeah. That was always the thing with me. He always, to me, looked weird, and he's very like kind of slow with his movements. Like a lot of these New Japan wrestlers, they're very quick, they're very agile. All their moves are very hard hitting and fast. But everything Tai Chi does looks like it's in slow motion almost.
He feels a bit like a sort of peacock, where he comes out very kind of impressively with all his entourage and his outfit and his stick. And then as soon as he actually comes to anything, he just sort of puts his feathers away and then gets in the ring. And it's just, oh, okay, you're just a bird. That's a good analogy, wasn't it?
Oh, it's excellent.
But this match so far has been, I mean, it's been a match. I think, like people saying, Ospreay is trying to bump as much as he can, just to kind of get this over. But yeah, let's say it's not going to be the most exciting match of the night, so we can we're allowed to be a bit quieter for this one. Oh no, he's biting him. That feels like it's not allowed. I know Farley does that a lot.
Yeah, I would especially not bite someone in the middle of a pandemic, but that's just me.
I'm assuming he's wearing a. Oh, good point, Tempest. I'm assuming his teeth are covered in hand sanitizer.
I would imagine that would make it difficult to wrestle. I know Ricky Steamboat would tell a story, actually, when he was in WWE in his like early 90s run, and he would be doing the fire breathing deal where he would come out with a big torch and then blow a big fireball before his matches. He said it was like one of the hardest things he's done in his career, because he would then have to wrestle a match with the taste of lighter fluid in his mouth.
Oh, nice. I bet that's tasty.
Oh, yeah. You're just sitting there, and he'd walk to the room just mouth full of lighter fluid, blow the fireball, and then give him like a cup of mouthwash just to rinse out.
It'll have to be like some kind of lighter fluid that doesn't light your face on fire as well.
Yeah, well, he goes over like the art of fire breathing and all that sort of thing, where the way he explains it is like you hold the torch upright and you have to keep blowing, just so the fire doesn't then come back towards you. So it's like you do a quick one and then kind of like stop, pull back before it can before the lighter fluid could then catch and come back towards you.
Well, so Christopher Jazzcat's just saying that's why you put charcoal in your mouth.
You know better than I would.
Shardul Shankar says, Andy, is it just morning or are your puns sucking today? Yeah, it is. It is the morning. Normally, peeling back the curtain, I do generally write them beforehand. And it's hard to do puns on New Japan names because, I mean, Takahashi, I can't really think of a British word that's like that.
We'll just come up with as many bird puns for Ospreay right now, because there's not going to be many other English names for the rest of the show. You better have a field day with Jay White when he comes out. That should
yeah, absolutely. No. Well, Ospreay. I mean, I guess Ospreay is a kind of bird. So,
hence the name.
Heading back to my Tai Chi reference, it was all linked. I promise. Let's have a look.
I mean, he's trying the match. Hardest.
The match is starting to hot up. Ospreay is the potato sacked himself.
Pete Quinnell has chimed in. Takahashi Brown.
Takahashi Brown.
It's a pun, you see. And he's not impressed, Pete.
Thanks,
Sorry.
Pete. He's done that because Gatecrasher, I am still doing the SmackDown podcast later. Yes. Oh, and Will Ospreay has just won, which I think is the right result, you have to say. I don't think Takahashi is going to get a lot of wins in this. I think he's going to be the enhancement, which everyone can kind of get a win over.
I mean, it's tough. I really can't look at anybody in the tournament that might fall to him in this one. Like every year they try and give everybody at least a win or two.
Didn't Moxley lose last year to what's his face?
Go on. I know. I'm trying to see if you know.
I know exactly what he looks like. Brian, put me out of my misery.
Toriano.
I knew it was Tori. I couldn't remember the last bit. Yes, Corporate Chopper is in the chat. That was pretty close to how you do pronounce my name. Thank you, Shardul. Shankar. I do play cricket with a lot of. I'm going to be really offensive now, aren't I? Because I'm going to say Indian people. I'm hoping you're Indian. I think that's an Indian name. If you're not, I'm very sorry. Thank you, Pete, for saying Toriano. I know it was Toriano now.
Ospreay is speaking.
Oh, is he? Is he going to speak in English?
I would presume so.
They're all clapping very politely.
He has missed everyone there.
Oh, wow. Apparently there was an earthquake in California about an hour and a half ago. Well, I hope you're okay, PJ OK3R. And I'm glad you're here to watch. I'm assuming it wasn't too bad, the fact that you're here. But yes, hope you're okay. And thank you to the 100 people who are now watching. 100 people!
Hey!
It's a century of humans. And one of them is Pete, who is not Mr. Davis's best friend.
So Will Ospreay has now said that he felt nervous before he came out, but he realized he has no reason to be nervous because he's Will Ospreay and the best wrestler in the world. Will Ospreay is back.
Thug King, I am an all-rounder in cricket. I know you know what I'm talking about there, Brian. Tempest.
Oh, absolutely.
Which means I bat and I bowl and I sometimes wicket keep if I can be bothered. Thug King is saying Australia is better than England. Well, yes, the latest cricket series would suggest that, but you also cheated a lot, probably. It was all 4.6 magnitude. I'm not a seismologist, but I think it could have been worse, but that's still not good. We don't like earthquakes. When am I reappearing on Quizzlemania? Spoilers, not this week, but the one after that, I think.
If plans go ahead as scheduled.
If plans go ahead as scheduled, I will be appearing on WrestleMania 20.
WrestleMania 20, you say?
Quizzlemania 20. Don't take my word for that. Adhyant Majahan says, Andy, I will clean bowl you in cricket. I mean, I'm sure you will. I'm not actually very good.
I will say I will probably have a better time understanding these people speaking in Japanese than you
do about talking about cricket. Well, yes. Yeah.
And I went to school for sports.
In response to you there, Adhyant, I have one century in my career and 150. So it's not the greatest record, but at least I have that one.
Jeff Cobb and Tai Chi is on their way to the ring now.
Oh, okay.
This is Jeff Cobb. I'm actually quite excited to see Jeff Cobb in this tournament.
Yeah, the last time I saw him, he was in AEW, so...
Well, he was doing work for New Japan stateside, but the rumor is now that he is signed officially with New Japan. So he really didn't do much in the G1 Climax last year. I thought ultimately he was like one of the bottom 2 or 3 people in the tournament, both in terms of like match quality and just overall presentation. Is that, I mean, that's not uncommon when you've got like a Ring of Honor guy in the tournament. Like Hangman Page 2 years ago was the same way. But now that he is signed, I could definitely see them pushing him a little bit harder. Maybe get a win over someone like Suzuki and set up a never open weight title match or something like that. I think would be apt.
I'd like to see him face. There's something meaty, so meaty about him that I'd love looking forward to seeing him facing Ishii.
Oh yeah,
where they
had a very good match.
Run at each other over and over and cause an even bigger earthquake.
I saw someone here asked a good question, if I could find it. Christian179 asked, if you were to choose one of the wrestlers that are rumored to leave WWE, who would you see fit the best in New Japan?
Cesaro. I know he's not rumored, but I just want him anywhere else, really.
Yeah.
There's been a rumor coming out of SmackDown that Vince McMahon hated Cesaro's match with Grand Metalik so much that he wanted to call an end to it during the ad break. So that's fun. Cesaro could go anywhere. I mean, who else is rumored to be leaving? Ricochet, although he's denied it. Because
that was probably going to be my answer.
Wrestlers denying things always means that they are not doing it. But yeah, Ricochet would be great. Just some more matches with Ospreay, really.
Yeah, because I mean, you look at how they wrestled, 4 years ago, 5 years ago. I mean, they had one of the most important matches of like the last decade, really. In terms of like changing the perception of the business and stuff like that. People weren't really watching New Japan at that time. Like it had its fans for sure. But that was one of the matches that everyone kind of took note of and went, "Oh my, like look at these guys." And now I could definitely see Ricochet being put in the, heavyweight division, put him in a G1 Climax and see him wrestle with, all of these different guys in the A block. It would just be lights out, every night.
Yeah.
Other than I would really like to see Chad Gable in New Japan as well. Chad Gable in like Suzuki Goon.
You mean Shorty G?
No, I don't actually. Why would you bring up a name like that while I'm watching New Japan?
Christopher Jazzcat says with a nice super chat. Thank you very much, Christopher, for all your support. Cobb versus Ospreay is going to be awesome. Yes, I think you're probably right. One sec. I'm just going to clear my nostril.
Thank you for announcing that.
You're welcome.
Yes, Cobb and Ospreay had a really good match at the G1 Supercard in Madison Square Garden a year and a half ago. So I'm very excited to see them wrestle again.
What is it about his face? How old is he? Because he looks about 400.
Yeah,
just in the face.
I think he's like late 30s. I think he's like 37 or 38, but I'll look it up. I always thought Tai Chi has like he has a very flat face. It's off-putting.
No disrespect to you, Tai Chi, if you're watching this, but you have a flat face. I don't think
he's watching it right now. I think he's a little bit busy. Tai Chi is 40 years old.
40, okay. How old's Cobb?
I've already put my phone down.
Because that's how I'm predicting this match. Who's younger?
Who's younger? Jeff Cobb.
I'm assuming Cobb is younger.
Yeah, not by much. He's 38.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I would have said early 30s. Jeff Cobb, you're looking good. Good skin. Less flat face.
He's very svelte. He's a handsome
man.
Yeah.
Isoel Irizarry suggesting Andrade for New Japan. Yes, I agree with that. seeing as
I mean,
it appears that Vince has now given up on him.
He was there for a while, as La Sombra.
No, that was someone else. That guy wore a mask.
I would know. All of us masked wrestlers, we all keep in touch with one another.
Mm.
But yeah, I would really like to see Andrade return or go to New Japan. Link up with the Los Ingobernables stable, because I mean, in many ways, he was the one that showed Naito the path, back in 2015, and really set him on the course that he's been. It would be a nice little full circle moment.
Oh, we're getting cricket questions in. Arvind Shastri says, Andy, who's your favourite non-English batsman? Aaron Finch, the Australian opener. I think he's absolutely exceptional. He showed it in the latest series. But yeah, I'm a big fan of his. Chris Gale, just anyone who can hit the ball really far. Flamink says, Andy, I have a question for you. Well, feel free to ask it, Flamink, and I will do my best to answer it when you send it in. Mustafa Ali in New Japan? Yes, definitely. Pretty much anyone, really, any of the underused guys in WWE. There are people I would want to see back in Stardom, because there are plenty again in WWE who could work there. I know she's sort of left now, but Kairi Sane would be one.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's the thing. Like, there's so many talented people in WWE. Like, Finn Balor is another one. Have him go back to New Japan and link up with the Bullet Club. I think that would be tremendous. It's just like everybody there is just so talented. It's just a matter of like who fits the style the best, who would be better suited in like AEW or something like that. But everybody would be good everywhere, basically, except Baron Corbin.
No, absolutely. Except Baron Corbin in New Japan would not work. Flaming says, if you see this, who is your Batman? And explain to us why it's Michael Keaton. I have got to tell you, I haven't seen Michael Keaton Batman. The only Batman I've really seen properly is Christian Bale in the Dark Knight trilogy. So I would have to say him. Because I do think that is one of my favorite trilogies of all time. Of course, Baron Corbin versus Roman Reigns on SmackDown.
Oh yes, of course. That was more than a trilogy. But yes, my favorite movie of all time is The Dark Knight, and one of these days I'm going to fight Luke. I know he doesn't work here anymore, but I'm going to fight Luke over his opinions that Batman Begins is better than The Dark Knight. I love Batman Begins, but that's just not true. But to answer the question of the best Batman, I would have to say Christian Bale as well. Although I just about fell in love with Robert Pattinson in the latest trailer for The Batman. I'm very excited to see that. Also, Kevin Conroy for all the real nerds out there.
Yeah, you nerds. Someone asked, I want John Cena to come back as a heel. Do you think this will happen? And if he did come back, would you book him as a heel? He's not. He's not going to come back as a heel. He is so part-time now, and he's John Cena, that I don't think there would be any point bringing him back as a heel now. I still think it would be something that fans would get into, but I cannot see it happening. Like, I could always see them turning Roman Reigns heel because he was younger and he was around, but I cannot see it anymore, especially now that he's got his dad haircut.
Well, that's kind of the thing now. Like, if this works with Roman Reigns, you can then turn him back babyface. It's not like this is the end of his run or anything. But John Cena's like 30, or not 30, he's like 42 or something like that now, maybe 40. He's basically on his way out, if he's not already out already. And they, as far as I know, I heard a rumor or report or something that, so don't report this as fact, anyone watching this, that movie studios don't want John Cena going back to WWE just because the public perception of WWE is so bad right now. that they don't want that to impact films.
Yeah,
so I would think that would amplify if he comes back and then turns heel. You know, you don't want your leading man in all of these movies coming out to be playing a bad guy on television that little children don't want to watch, you know, and they're turning people away from his movies or anything like that. I just don't think, you know, that would really work. Plus, he does so much work for charity now, you know, even still, like, he still makes all these Make-A-Wish, you know, deals. So the time has passed on it, honestly.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's unfortunate, but, you know, time has passed.
Seth Morgana has said, who is your favorite in-ring worker and why is it The Miz? It's The Miz.
Well, it's very much not The Miz
No, it's probably not. It's arguably not The Miz, but I'm a big fan of Drew McIntyre right now, though.
Oh, Drew's excellent. In all of wrestling, when he's on top, I would have to say Okada. Okada wrestling main event matches, especially during his title runs, incredible. Like, in my opinion, that is as good as it gets. You know, I keep seeing Rob Zilla commenting over here. It says, Louis Dangour's #1 fan. I don't think you need to put #1. I'm pretty sure you're his only fan.
Yeah.
But he keeps
speaking
commenting.
Of which, Louis has an OnlyFans account if you want to sign up to that.
I realized it once I said it.
You can pay extra to get some special content from Louis there.
Oh, yeah. But Rob Zilla keeps saying Tempest is Brian Joyce, guys. I don't know who you're referring to there.
I don't know who Brian Joyce is, frankly.
That is.
I've only ever worked with Tempest.
Listen, I don't care what WrestleTalk.com says. Ignore any pictures or bylines that might have my Twitter handle attached to them. I need to get on that. I need to change all that. It's like I changed my Twitter handle on there from what it was when I was on Quizlemania as a contestant, but I've yet to change my avatar and my byline. Perhaps after this, I'll get around to that. I've been quite impressed with Jeff Cobb so far.
Yes, no, we should probably focus on the match for a bit.
Well, I mean, it is tough. Typically, like, the first 2 block matches in a show like this will be a little bit slower, you know. But, I mean, this has been good so far. You know, I will give Tai Chi credit. He has done a lot more in the last, like, year or so than he had beforehand. Because when he was announced for the G1 Climax last year, I was just like, oh, my God. Why are you trying to push this guy? Like, he's not good. To me, he was like the Baron Corbin role in New Japan, where I'm just like, I'd see his name come up and be like, oh, God. But he has had good matches. Typically, it is with, like, the best workers in the company. So, I mean, if you can't have a really good match with, like, Tomohiro Ishii and Kazuchika Okada, there might be a bit of a problem. But still, he is capable of going out there and having good matches when he tries. It's just a matter if he feels like trying on any given day.
Yeah. No, I mean, this is definitely a step up from the opening match between Ospreay and Takahashi. I mean, I think they did the right thing with keeping that match relatively short. Oh, he's taken off his trousers. Disclaimer: he is wearing pants. He is wearing trunks underneath that.
I will say, if you come and watch me wrestle, I will not be doing that.
Is that? I mean, I've seen him do that before, but I'm assuming that's his kind of I'm going Super Saiyan.
Yes. Saiyan? Good Lord.
Saiyan, sorry.
Yes. Yes, that is his fire up spot.
1, 2. Oh, kick out at 2. Jeff Cobb almost wins that one. Flaming says favorite coffee flavor. I don't have one. I think coffee is disgusting. Tempest?
I agree.
You're drinking coffee right now.
I'm drinking a Frappuccino, I'll be honest. This is not... See, it is a Frappuccino coffee drink from a non-branded thing because I don't want to get free advertising. I really don't like coffee. I tried my best in university to try and drink it. I would pull all-nighters twice a term, finishing papers that were due the next day. Don't do that, kids. Procrastination is bad.
It is.
But I just can't do it. I can't drink coffee. I just think it's gross. If I really need one, I'll get like a white chocolate mocha terrible garbage drink from Starbucks or something. But otherwise, I can't go to a Tim Hortons and just order like a double, cream and sugar and whatever. I can't do it. It's just bleh.
AU Kingslayer, you can watch this on newjapanworld.com. It doesn't have English commentary, I'm afraid, but yes, watch it there. I think it's about $9 a month. Definitely worth it if you like Japanese wrestling.
There were a few things I wanted to get here before they fully go away. Where was it? Someone wants me to fight Luke.
Oh,
which I mean,
is it Luke?
No, Shardula Shankar says book it, Tempest versus Luke. I believe that has to do with our opinions on the Dark Knight. Hey, if someone wants to put me up in a debate, I will go to bat for the Dark Knight every day of the week.
You will go to bat, will you?
Listen, we're not talking about cricket.
No,
you're talking about bats as in Batman.
Yes. Oh my, come on, it really is late for you, isn't it?
Oh, it's early now. I think it's too late to be considered late. Oh, Tour of the Islands.
Don't worry, I gave you the rest of the day off.
Well, I don't work on Saturdays anyway. So
I'm the nicest boss in the world. I gave you the rest of the day off. Oh, Tai Chi with a super kick. Cobb is dead. Can he finish it?
I could see Tai Chi winning this one. Honestly.
Ow.
Oh, Black Mephisto. Dear. Oh, he's got it. That's got to be it.
Yeah, Tai Chi wins. I would not have predicted that, I have to say. But I guess
we should start giving our predictions for the matches before they happen.
Yeah, I actually thought Tai Chi was going to win. I know I just said that I didn't think he was, but we're one-on-one now.
They like to try and balance the tournaments as much as possible. So when you've got matches like this where it's kind of like lower guys wrestling each other, they can hopefully level out the playing field a little bit. A lot of Tai Chi beating Cobb makes sense.
A lot of people shocked to see Tai Chi winning in the chat. Yes, I think we all are.
Well, you need to keep in mind, you might not like Tai Chi, but New Japan likes Tai Chi, and they want to protect him.
That's true, and I guess Cobb's Cobb's. I mean, thinking from an American perspective, if someone comes in from another company, you'd think, oh well, they're gonna push him strong straight away. But I guess New Japan are just like, well, no, we're gonna push the people we want to push.
Pretty much, And Jeff Cobb is in an interesting position where he's been there before for a lot longer. He's just signed, but it's not like someone just like brand new debut. You need to make a big impact. You kind of know who he is, so it'll be more like you'll get him a win here and there. He'll beat some like really big name people. I absolutely think he's going to beat Suzuki and do a match for the never open weight title at some point. I just think that makes sense. It's like everybody, unless you're someone like Yujiro, who I just don't think is going to win any matches, they try and give everybody at least one big win at some point. Whether that's a win over someone like Suzuki or Ibushi or Tanahashi or something like that. It's important to give people those kind of moments. Flame Inc. Asked if I had seen Batman Returns. It has an all-star cast. I really don't like that movie. Like, it's got a really good cast, but I'm not a huge fan of Tim Burton just going crazy with the Batman mythos and everything. Like Penguin having a little like arcade machine that he can somehow hook up and control the actual Batmobile. It was just all a little bit cartoony for my liking. I mean, it's okay. I'm not a huge fan of it.
Next up, by the way, we have Ishii against Suzuki. I'm going to go with Ishii, but I don't know why.
I'm gonna go with Suzuki in this one.
What is never? Is it a branding?
It stands for something. I can look it up. I always have trouble with remembering. But hang on.
Oh, Kirik has asked us who the most attractive person in New Japan is.
Oh, Tanahashi, 100%.
Yeah, it's got to be
Hiroshi
Tanahashi.
Tanahashi is a gorgeous human being. Never is an acronym that means New Blood Evolution Valiantly Eternal.
Oh, that's what I would have thought.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It really flows.
Louis in the chat saying that he loves New Japan.
Do you? He was telling me earlier. He really likes Minoru Okada. He thinks he's a great champion. Oh yeah.
Louis is a big fan of everything. Something you will come to learn if you watch his interviews, which admittedly are very good. We're very proud of you, Louis.
Yes. PJOK3R asks, when do we think Miro will debut for New Japan?
Well, he keeps saying that he keeps saying he's allowed to. So I guess I mean it won't be during. I mean I can't imagine it's during the G1 unless they do someone that gets attacked backstage. But it feels like he's very much with AEW for the time being. So perhaps later this year or even at Wrestle Kingdom next year.
Yeah, well, with people that are in like AEW, I think it's probably a pretty good bet that it will be a situation where they will wait until the pandemic is over. Just because for something like this, you get Ospreay and Jeff Cobb who will go to Japan for the G1 Climax and stay there. So they don't need to like quarantine.
I was going to say, you don't want to risk sending Miro there and then something happening and then him having to, him getting stuck there basically.
Yeah. You know, if you bring in Miro to do an appearance and then he has to quarantine for 2 weeks coming back to the States before Dynamite, you know, it doesn't make sense to have him try and do both. You know, it's the same reason that, you know, Jon Moxley hasn't appeared there for a long time. Same thing with Jericho. You know, it doesn't make sense. But once this is over, I would love to see Miro and Suzuki-gun just be a big, mean, foreign monster, kind of filling the role that Lance Archer has left there.
Ooh, we're getting advert break for T-shirts.
Yes, they are doing a
lot of people saying that Ibushi is the sexiest man in New Japan. But then look at Tanahashi.
Well, that's the thing. Ibushi is much more boyish. He's like the cute boy band looking kind of guy.
Yeah.
Tanahashi is older and he has amazing hair. I love him. Also, an appropriate answer is Satoshi Kojima because I love him. He's even older. As Louis is also in the chat to say, I want Tempest to say he's proud of me too. I'm proud of you, Louis Danger. Always proud.
Louis, stop talking about football in the chat. And if you're going to talk about any football, talk about Japanese football.
Christopher Jazzcat says, love the shirt, Tempest. I have the same one. Thank you. It is the Bullet Club Black Lives Matter shirt with all proceeds going towards good causes. Mick Foley posted a picture of him with the same shirt. It's a good one. You should pick one up.
My shirt is one of a kind and completely unique. It is It is the picture that Ryback tweeted of me to endlessly insult me for not knowing anything about wrestling, which Luke bought me for Christmas last year, which was a wonderful gift, totally unexpected. Yeah, me and Ryback and I are very close friends. As you know, he's a very mild-tempered man, especially on social media.
Username O2 asks, besides Omega and Lesnar, are there any North American wrestlers who could walk straight into a New Japan Pro Wrestling main event?
Oh, man, there are loads. But one second quickly. Will Ospreay, that is a very recognizable sofa. I don't know where you are, but I would get out of there right now.
Oh, Andy.
Sorry, you were saying about North American wrestlers who could just walk into New Japan. I mean, there are dozens and dozens of them who I think could work very well, but sort of specifically, I think Kenny Omega.
Well, he says besides Omega and Brock Lesnar, if you were paying attention,
AJ Styles or
AJ
Carl
Styles
Anderson,
is a good one.
Finn Balor.
Most of the time,
I'm just naming people
people that have been there. You know, any of those kind of guys, like, you know, Jericho comes and goes, but Jericho's another one. You know, I'm struggling to think of ones that would A, fit the style, and B, be able to be a main event player like immediately.
You
know, just because there aren't that many like main event talents in North America right now, really. Yeah, Drew's big enough. They like guys with size. You know, stuff like that would be really good. I'll take that. That's a good enough answer.
Guys with size sounds like a really bad WWE faction.
Don't give them any idea.
We are the guys with size.
Did you ever watch or listen to the New Day podcast where they listed off all of the names that they either came up with or were offered by WWE Creative for their stable?
Yes, I did, and a lot of them were very offensive.
I am not a huge fan of their podcast. It's fine, but I struggle with most WWE branded things because I'm like, am I getting the real story here? But that was an excellent piece of entertainment. Rob Zilla says, when will we get some Tempest merch? Your guess is as good as mine. I need to come up with a catchphrase like "Jam that jam," and then it'll be all over.
Like, technically, I suppose all the Jam that jam is my merch because I invented it and saved WrestleTalk. But yeah, well, you're not getting merch till I get merch.
Yeah. I'm probably behind you, and honestly, probably Louis as well. Just considering he's got all the interviews. Perhaps I can get like a fact checker T-shirt of some sort if my appearances on Quizlemania continue. Yes,
let's ask Tempest.
Absolutely.
With just a picture of your mask. Tempest. What would Tempest do?
Yes, replace Jesus with Tempest. We're basically on the same tier.
Oh, okay. We're back in the ring.
Yes.
And the bell is ringing.
This is where the matches are really going to start getting good, so I'm pretty excited.
Is that The Undertaker? New Japan Pro Wrestling.
Flame Inc. says, if Kota Ibushi stayed in WWE after the Cruiserweight Classic, do you think 205 Live Cruiserweights would have been different, or would WWE have ruined Kota Ibushi? WWE would have ruined Kota Ibushi.
Yes, they would. I mean, you've seen what they've done with Shinsuke Nakamura.
And Kushida and Ricochet and everyone. They don't like smaller people.
No.
You know,
and I mean, when you see him in New Japan, you don't think he's a small guy.
Yeah. Well, that's always the thing, right? Like, the biggest guys in New Japan are big because they're in New Japan. But if you take someone like Bad Luck Fale and put him in a WWE ring, he's just like slightly above average size. You know? But
because Bad Luck Fale is someone who would work in WWE because he's massive, and therefore they would just have him eat people. Not that I want him there.
No, nor do I. But I mean, look at WWE's track record. And look at what they did with 205 Live. Like, I don't think you're putting anybody in that division would have helped it. You could have put Rey Mysterio in that division and it wouldn't have made a difference.
Do you reckon he has a neck, or is it disappeared because he walks like that?
No, he has no neck. He is a bowling ball on a concrete block, as the Big Show once said.
How old's he? He must be getting on.
Oh, yeah, I think he's like 45, 46. He's an older guy.
So this is probably adding ages the oldest match.
At least of the card.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't actually probably of the whole tournament, really. The Suzuki's the oldest.
That doesn't mean it's going to be bad. I've watched these two.
No.
I actually watched these two at Royal Quest last year, and it was just wonderful. It was just No, wait, no, I
Like
didn't.
Royal
No, that
Quest,
was that was Suzuki against Okada. But I have seen these two, maybe at
Rev Pro.
a Rev Pro show. Yeah. And that was what you'd expect. It was just forearms and headbutts and forearms. And it's amazing how interesting forearms can be.
Well, this is a perfect example of something like that, where you don't need to do a million moves in order to have a really great match. You know, it's about the storytelling and that sort of thing. And you may look at something like this and be like, oh, well, they're just doing forearms. But if you look at the way that Ishii is selling and the facial expressions of Suzuki, it's just, you know, it's a really hard way of doing easy pro wrestling, if that makes sense. Because I would not necessarily want to be put in a ring with either of these two men and said, just fight, you know, see how it goes, because I would probably die. But
when do you think Suzuki's gonna call it a day? Because I mean, he's what is he? 50? He's over 50, isn't he?
51, 52, I think, maybe.
The thing is, his wrestling style is very sustainable.
Yes.
It doesn't take a lot of big bumps. And it's mainly striking and sleeper holds. So I reckon he could be going for another 5 years. But
I think so as well.
Christopher Jazzcat says you're going to have to go to work after this match, but this has been great. Yes, it has. He says this is going to be violent. I'm hyped and scared. Oh, don't be scared. They've done this before. But yes, no, definitely be hyped for this. And Maxman asks you where you get your masks. Interestingly, I don't think you're going to recommend it.
Well, that's the thing. I feel bad putting a name to them. It's like, in fact, I'm not going to.
Let's just say they took several months longer to deliver the items than they promised.
Yes, and if I'm being completely honest, I'm not. Oh, they're starting already. They're throwing shots. To be perfectly honest, I'm not terribly happy with the final product. It's a little bit tight in the nose, nose area. I don't know if you can see.
If you had a less fat head.
I'm very sorry. Well, I sent the measurements of my head for this exact reason, but I don't know if you can see, but the seam of this mask goes right across the nose here. So like the bit of my nose that connects right here, it's just pushed up to my face.
Oh, nice.
So trust me, doing Quizzlemania and sitting there with my mask on for 3 hours is not comfortable.
Surely you can remove it now and then when you're not on
during
screen.
Quizzlemania I can. You know, they put me in the lobby where I'm not on screen and I'll pop it up. But I always have to be alert just in case they call on me for something.
Like we've said, this match is going to be entirely forearms, and that's what it has been. But there's something special about their forearms, even though they are actually hitting pretty soft forearms. That's just something, because what they often do is they build up to a massive forearm. Oh, he's doing a spider thingy.
Well, this is a perfect example in wrestling of something that you can believe is real. Because these are two really tough guys having a fight. And that's, you know, you can have different forms of pro wrestling and everything. But if you have two really tough guys and only one of them can win a fight, that's what all combat sports has been based off of for like 150 years. Two tough boxers, two tough UFC fighters. Any of this, you want to see two tough guys go in and have a fight and only one can win.
Absolutely. BJ Baker says, finally, WrestleTalk is covering my #1 promotion. Well, yes. Tell all your friends, share this everywhere you can, because the more people who watch this, then the more we'll be allowed to cover it in the future. So, yes, we'll be covering several nights of the G1. Not every night, but hopefully, if this goes well and people watch it, we'll be getting some more streams for you all. So, yes, share it to everyone you know. And we'll be doing more of these when we can. And Christopher Jaskat says, Ishii selling is the best. He sells more when his opponent can't see. And
Seth
Kingslayer
Morgana
says, "Are you
talk
ever going
about
to
the
take
match.
your mask off?"
Not well in life, perhaps.
No,
But
he wears it all the time.
oh yeah,
His lady partner has never actually seen his face, which is probably a good thing.
well, that's not very nice.
No, I know.
To answer your question as far as stuff on this channel, likely not, honestly, because I am a pro wrestler. You know, I do have wrestling matches and I do wear my mask, so I would like to try and keep my identity kept as best as possible. And if you want to know who I look like, what I look like, it's not that hard to find out. But but
Yeah, it's easier to find out what he looks like than, let's say, Jushin Thunder Liger.
Or well, yeah, or Ray Phoenix or Pentagon.
Yes, although
Pentagon
it was interesting
Jr.
at Wrestling MediaCon a couple of years ago, I was just standing next to someone, and he went, "Oh, you see that guy there walking past? Yeah, oh, that's Jushin Thunder Liger." And obviously, we weren't allowed to say anything,
Yeah,
because he wasn't wearing his mask, so you can't go up to him and go, "Hey, Jushin." It was remarkable how normal he looked. I almost expected him to have horns.
Seth Morgana has said, "Talk about the match." I mean, we are. It's been forearms. It's more forearms. Every 30 seconds, we'll chime in and say, "Well, they hit another forearm." Ishii just laid out Suzuki. It's been about what you would expect. They fought on the outside and they brawled over by the announcers, and now Ishii has him in a mount and is slapping him in the face while he's on the ground. Now he's stepping on his face.
He is now standing on his face. Why is that not a pin?
It's a good question.
His shoulders were down.
A lot of the times the referees will be like, "No, be respectful. Pin him properly."
I guess this is Japan.
Yeah. Red Shoes in particular will do that. He'll just be like, "No, I'm not counting. No, not doing it." He staggered. Johnny Guitar says you should cover every A block night. Every show is like a takeover. That is pretty much the plan. If everything goes well and this gets viewership, I think we're set to miss maybe one A block show. You know, but the plan tentatively is to cover most of the A block shows. So
Ishii is staggered. He can't even hit a clean strike on. Okay, now they are hitting proper forearms.
He nailed that one.
Oh, and that one. Wow. Yeah, so at the start of the match, the forearms weren't connecting too hard, but they've decided they actually want to hurt each other now, and they are really laying them in thick.
Beautiful pro wrestling violence. That is one thing I will say. I miss Jon Moxley in this tournament. I really enjoyed him in it last year.
No, he was fantastic in it last year. I remember we were sitting in the office and we suddenly got a message saying, "Someone, quickly, you have to turn on this Moxley versus Ishii match."
Well, that was one of my favorite matches of the entire year last year.
Yeah,
I'm a really big fan of Moxley, and I really like the stories that people tell of, like, you know, guy leaves WWE and then succeeds. Like, I was really into Cody when he left, and I was really into Moxley when he left, you know, just for that sake of, like, you know, betting on yourself. I really like that sort of idea. And that match was just like, yeah, you should have pushed this guy. You should have done more with him, because he went out and had a legitimate 5-star match, you know, 3 months after he leaves.
Ishii is now fighting back. He's managed to floor Suzuki.
They're
very back
down.
as these matches are. There's often kind of like who can hit the hardest forearm and stagger their opponent. Knee. So look, he felt like he forgot what he was doing there. Attempted a bulldog. Shoulders. Big boot from Suzuki, but Ishii straight up, another big boot. Third big boot misses. Suplex. German suplex release.
Suplex City.
That really is Suplex City. What's Kirik said? Should I have another drink? Yes. Cool. Cheers, boys. Well, you're welcome for our
You
input.
answered your own question there.
Should we expect another stream tomorrow? I don't think we're doing one tomorrow.
No.
When is? I think the next one is Thursday.
Thursday or Wednesday? Let me check real quick. Go through our DMs here. It will be Wednesday morning. The 23rd is the next show we're doing.
Awesome. Andy, got a question. What do you think of Raw Underground with Braun, says AU Kingslayer. I hate Raw Underground. I think it is absolutely dreadful. It was always destined to be, unfortunately, because they just do not know how to present that sort of thing.
I feel like it was such like a gimmick. Like, of course it's a gimmick, but it was so short term. It was for those first 2 weeks of people going, "What is this? I got to see it." But like, what is the purpose of it now? It just kind of exists. It's just floating. Ishii and Suzuki are trading shots once again. They're now trading headbutts. Robzilla says the B block is getting slept on. The B block is like, it's good, and I will watch them all. But you have to understand, it's currently 5 a.m. here, and I do have a real job as well.
Yes, unfortunately, I would love to watch as much as possible live, but yes, unfortunately, I do have a website to run, so it isn't entirely possible. But we will be here as often as we can.
We will be covering a number of B block shows as well. I will make that clear. Like, they are on the schedule.
Yes.
It's just like when every show is like a kind of so-so main event that doesn't really need to be covered. You know.
Yeah, Suzuki was just dropped slightly on his head. I think he did manage to tilt his head to the side there, but that looked pretty gnarly. And a lot of people saying, "Oh my god, I felt that headbutt."
A big sliding lariat for a near fall there from Ishii. He's going for the brain buster. And a big insecurity from Ishii.
And we will, of course, be covering the finals of the G1 as well.
Yes. I'm very much... I will say I'm looking forward to that more this year than I did last year, because I covered the A block, B block, and then the overall final for the website doing live results last year. The only problem was that it coincided directly with SummerSlam weekend. And SummerSlam took place in Toronto last year, and I attended. So I was basically a zombie for those 3 days.
Oh, going for a pile driver. No. Backdrop from Ishii onto Suzuki. Big boot. Well, sort of medium boot. Oh, standing lariat.
The medium boot. The semi-medium, easy, hard boot. That's a SpongeBob reference for all of you 12-year-olds out there. I don't even know if 12-year-olds still watch.
I was going to say, I think the SpongeBob era is more in their 20s now.
Yeah.
I had a friend around last night, and I've been watching a bit of Pokemon on Netflix, and I was skipping through, and I said, "Oh, well, yeah, I felt a bit childish the other day watching Pokemon." He was like, "Hey, nothing childish about that. That's our era."
Yeah.
And I suppose he's right.
You know, I think that's even.
Ishii's firing up.
Oh my!
Oh my God!
Oh
what
God! What a lariat!
That was a stiff lariat. It was almost like Suzuki was trying to no-sell it, but then couldn't. Oh, he's now laughing.
Yes, because Ishii is the Joker.
Another medium boot. Oh, a headbutt, and Suzuki's dead.
I love these men. I love them.
This is, as PJOK3R says, a slobber knocker. It always sounds better in my accent, I think. Oh, go for the brainbuster. No. He's reversed it into...
Through.
Oh, is he going to get it? The pile driver? Yes, he's hit it.
Oh, my.
Oh, my.
Oh,
and
my.
Suzuki wins, even though
Very good.
Ishii's right shoulder wasn't quite on the mat. So I'm imagining there'll be another 4-week storyline about that.
Oh, absolutely. Excellent pro wrestling battle.
That
Louis
was...
Dangor has chimed in that he didn't get the SpongeBob reference. Well, Louis, you don't get any references, so I'm going to take that with a grain of salt.
Yeah, for what you got to know, watchers, that Louis doesn't listen to music, doesn't watch TV or movies. His whole life is devoid of happiness.
All he watches is wrestling and footy.
And soccer.
You said it, not me.
I just didn't want people to think that we were talking about that horrible American version of football.
Oh, do you want me to go and get my Green Bay Packers jersey on?
No, please don't. I like what you're wearing now. I did grow my hair back so fast, Flaming. I used to have it, and so I thought, you know what, I'm going to get it back.
Yes. Do you have any tips for Adam right now?
Hats. Wear hats.
Wig.
And weirdly, the two things that I learned were don't wash your hair too often because the natural oils in your hair help growth. And if you mix a tiny bit of apple cider vinegar with some water and use that instead of shampoo, that also... Apple cider vinegar is one of those things which apparently just does everything. And if you squirt that on your head, again, that promotes regrowth. So I was doing that, and it genuinely seemed to work. It might just be because I thought it was working, so it may have been a case of a placebo effect. But yeah, it's all back now, and my girlfriend is very happy about
that. Christian179 says, if Brock versus Bobby Lashley, Marina Shafir versus Jessamine Duke, and Shayna versus Ronda were all unscripted matches, they'd be perfect for WWE Underground. It's funny you say that, because when Raw Underground debuted, I did a list of like 10 possible dream matches for WWE Underground or Raw Underground, and I think all of those were on the list.
Well, what
you got very outlandish kind of list, but
I feel like the way that WWE has sort of pushed Ronda, Shayna, Jessamine, and Marina would suggest that they have incredible MMA records. They really don't.
Ronda does.
Ronda has a good one, but I don't know a lot about UFC, and I'm sure the comments will correct me if I'm wrong, but a lot of people who do know about UFC would say that Ronda was great when women's UFC wasn't all that kind of well known. And as soon as some actual fighters came along, she lost to all of them. Was the kind of general gist I got from proper UFC fans. I know Jessamine and Marina have like quite a sketchy record. I think Shayna's got the best record out of those three, but I don't think she was ever in UFC, or she may have been briefly, but I think it's mainly kind of just other MMA. I think in a match between Brock and Bobby, Brock's obviously got the kind of more UFC better record. He was a former champion, and he's kind of... I would still back Brock to beat Bobby in a true kind of octagon cage match.
I would as well. Jay White is back.
He is
excited and happy to see Jay White.
If one more person clicks on this, then we have 150 people watching. So keep clicking.
Share
and
the link.
Tell all your friend.
Retweet this and get more people watching so we can continue to cover New Japan Pro Wrestling.
Remind me, who's Jay White facing, just so I can tweet it out?
Shingo Takagi. Be careful with spell check. I tried to tweet Shingo Takagi's name earlier today, and it didn't like that. Yes, Jay Whiteo. A lot of people happy to see Jay White back.
They are. I know a lot of people who weren't big on Jay White when he started, but I think he's done a lot of good character work, and they've sort of turned a corner on him.
Oh yeah.
Christopher
he's much better as a heel.
says, what do you think is going to happen with Bullet Club leadership? Jay White, Kenta, and Evil all have claims to being the ace of the Bullet Club. That's one for you, Brian. Tempest.
Keep using my Govey, bro. Well, it's a very good question. Honestly, I really don't know. I would like to see Jay White as the leader, just because I think that a foreign leader for Bullet Club makes a lot more sense.
But that is great gear.
Oh, it's amazing. I love Shingo Takagi so much. Before I finish that thought, Seth Morgana says Vikings better than Packers. Well, if you watched the game last Sunday, you know that is just factually not true.
What was the score?
I believe it was 45 to 34.
Well, that's a high score. That is unusually high scoring, isn't it?
It was a good high scoring game, but we won.
I'm a big Ravens fan because that's the team I used on Madden 10 when I played it 10 years ago. So Flaming says, would you rather see Brock Lesnar versus Okada or Brock Lesnar versus Suzuki?
Suzuki, definitely.
Suzuki. I think their styles fit better, and you could have Suzuki just no selling over and over and over. How are the Baltimore Ravens doing? Let's have a look.
Well, they're 1-0. The season just started.
Oh, they absolutely crushed the Browns. Take that, Browns. Historically, the worst team in the NFL.
Look at you knowing things. But to finish Christopher's point, I would like to see Jay White hold on to the Bullet Club leadership, although I could see a feud between him and Evil coming down the pipeline. And so Seth Morgana has piped in again, saying Horseshoe Tanahashi. Congratulations, Adam Blampia. You've ruined Hiroshi Tanahashi forever.
Is that how he actually spelled it, or was it Horsey?
No, someone. Well, he had written like Horoshi.
Oh, okay.
And then someone said it looks like Horseshoe Tanahashi, and then it got changed to that. And now that's just what it's become.
Right.
And Bernard Bunting says Aaron Rodgers the GOAT. You know it.
Yeah. I mean, is he a quarterback?
He is the quarterback for the Green Bay Packers.
See, I will watch the Super Bowl, but that is about it.
Yeah, that's like most people. I'm not going to fault you there.
But it is just so long. It's like watching WrestleMania, but I'm even less interested in most of it.
Well, it's going to be interesting to see a match like this because Jay White has a very distinct style. Where he's like the one true actual heel in New Japan, in the sense that he will cheat, but he will actually like play heel. He will stall. He'll go to the outside. Excuse me.
He looks a bit like Brian Kendrick right now.
Well, I love his beard. It's so gross and grimy. Like I think he looks so much better with this gross, grimy beard than he did with a clean-shaven face.
Well, there was the whole when Daniel Bryan was all his vegan stuff, and he had that horrible beard.
Yes.
You just got to think, poor Brie. Like, I know he's doing it for character work, but
well, that was the thing when he retired in 2016, and he came out with like the nicely trimmed beard and haircut.
Trimmed beard, nice haircut. You're like, wow, what a handsome man.
Well, it was that, and I was like, oh, this is for real. This isn't a gimmick. This isn't a work.
Antonio Correa asked me about Liverpool. Yes, I am a Liverpool fan. I hope they buy a new defender. They're buying a lot of new strikers and attacking players, but they could do with a new defender, especially after last week's performance. Don't you think, Brian?
Oh, absolutely. Liverpool, footy, halfback. Am I saying things right? Goalies.
Yeah, absolutely.
Nailed it.
Oh, Jay White already using heel tactics. Well, not Jay White exactly.
Getting involved.
But Gato is using heel tactics.
That is a problem.
There was that brief rumor that Gato was going to join WWE and head up new NXT Japan, but that seems to have just died out.
Yeah, I'm really glad that didn't happen. Honestly, like Gato at this point, honestly, Gato has to go down as like one of the best bookers in the history of wrestling. And I get on people a lot for using terms like that, where it's like, oh, he's the best ever. He's one of the greatest of all time, stuff like that, just because, hyperbole and such and such. But in terms of like the top tier of wrestling bookers ever, I mean, Gato is right up there.
Oh yeah.
What he's done over the last 10 years has been incredible.
Steve Austin versus Goldberg. Who would win? Asks Kingslayer.
Whoever was booked to win.
That is true. I guess in a shoot fight, I would back Goldberg.
Yes, he has a better neck.
He does have a better neck, and he's a bit thicker.
And well, they were both football players, but Goldberg was a football player at a higher level. That doesn't really mean anything in a fight, but I would probably back Goldberg in a fight. Christopher Jazzcat is off to work. Thank you for joining us, Christopher.
Yes, have a nice shift, Christopher.
We appreciate the support.
Christian says, is WWE still in talks with Daniel Cormier? And if so, do you think you have a match with Brock or on either Raw or SmackDown or even Underground? I know he's definitely been in auditions to work for WWE, and I know he's a massive fan of the product.
Last I heard, he was in talks to do work as a commentator.
Yeah, but that was a long time ago, and I haven't heard anything in a while.
I heard that like this week, actually.
Oh, did you? Oh.
Yeah. We reported on it. Check your own website.
I don't know. I don't run that website. Do you guys agree with Jericho that NXT is embarrassing themselves on Wednesdays? I don't think they're embarrassing themselves at all. I just think what this has proved is that it's better for the wrestling world and fans if they just have it on another night, because it means that there's less of this pettiness and people can just get on with it. Because as much as I enjoy AEW, they could probably stop taking jabs at NXT, because what's the point anymore? Everyone knows that AEW is good now. We don't have to keep kind of poking at NXT and coming out and saying, oh, it's trash and stuff like that, because we know it's not trash. Just have NXT on a Tuesday. I mean, the USA Network are apparently very keen on that idea, and it worked for both of their audiences. I mean, I don't see why you wouldn't want that.
Yes. I mean, my opinion on the matter is that I don't think the product is embarrassing. NXT is still a good show. What I think is embarrassing is that it has now become clear that their goal is not to have a successful show. Their goal is to take away the 200,000 viewers from AEW.
Yeah.
They're content with doing that.
They don't want AEW consistently hitting 1 million, because then you can almost sort of say that AEW is in the same million as Raw, which they do not want.
Takagi's popping up. This match is really getting going. Jay White had leveled Takagi, and now he popped back up and hit a huge axe handle to the chest. And Jay White has now hit a flipper to the back. There's a lot of hair pulling going on here. Shingo Takagi also has lovely hair.
He does. He, of course, debuted part of Los LIJ.
Los LIJ, yes.
Los LIJ as the mystery man, and has gone from strength to strength within within a few weeks, like not a few months of joining New Japan. He had a 5-star match.
Yeah, it was. I don't know if we had one before the Will Ospreay match in the Best of the Super Junior final, but if that was his first one, like, what a better one to do. I mean, that one match of the year last year. He's phenomenal, and you typically don't see a lot of Japanese guys jumping ship to other Japanese promotions. Just because loyalty is very big over there. If a guy goes to Dragon Gate or Pro Wrestling Noah or All Japan, they're very likely to stay there.
That's why Kenta turning up was such a big deal, wasn't it?
Exactly. You know, but I mean, Shingo Takagi in New Japan has just been like one of the like top 5 best workers in the whole world, in my opinion.
People are popping for your whoever's booked to win line, by the way. Maybe that can be your T-shirt.
Yeah, whoever's booked to win.
All right, let's commentate on the match.
Yes.
So Takagi's currently got the upper hand. He's just rolled Jay White back into the ring after hitting a DDT on the mat outside. He's almost playing the heel, which is interesting given Jay White's tendencies.
What's always interesting in the G1, because you'll get matches that will be like tweener versus heel or heel versus heel.
I mean, he's definitely playing the heel at the moment. He just tried to cover Jay White with a kind of curled bicep.
Yeah. What I like about New Japan in matches like this is you will have guys like this wrestling who are both kind of heel or heel leaning, and just because they're facing a heel doesn't mean that they will stop acting the way that they have been, in a way. You know, like Shingo Takagi's not going to come out because he's wrestling Jay White and start high-fiving people and kissing babies just because he's going to be, you know, more cheered in a match like this.
White just hit a snap suplex to take some of the initiative back, and it seems he is now on top.
Very good. Do we think Kenta will take the belt off Moxley whenever that match happens? I think it's possible, just because Moxley is unable to make it to New Japan right now. So if they are able to get the belt off of him and use that belt in storylines and everything going forward,
I mean, wasn't the belt originally stripped off him last year or beginning of this year because he couldn't get there?
Yeah, that was when the Storm was happening in New Japan.
Yeah, so it's interesting they haven't stripped it off him again, given that he can't actually wrestle.
Yeah. Well, last I heard from him was that he was in talks to go and have a match for it with Kenta.
Yeah, I think it would make sense for him to drop it.
Yeah. It's also interesting considering he's the AEW World Champion, so I don't know that he would go there and lose a match.
I think if he was to lose, it would be in a non-clean way. It would be either a roll-up, which I know is technically clean, or there would be some outside interference.
Yeah. And Shingo has just hit Noshigami, and they're doing a double down, and they're both struggling to fight to their feet. Fans are really starting to get into this one. Again, it's been very good so far, as many of the matches in the A block will be.
Oh, great little release, kind of pop-up weird suplex thing from Shingo Takagi there. He's definitely been the kind of he's definitely been on top for the majority of the match. Oh, and Jay White tries to flip him over, but Takagi scouts him.
JD Power just says, brain. Someone watched my 3 videos last year.
Alex shouts "Narf," which I believe is a reference to Pinky in the Brain.
Another thing that Louis would not understand the reference of.
It's because he's got no culture. Oh,
absolutely.
They're just trading blows now. Takagi with a standing lariat, and Jay White sells it if he's been shot.
I always love this because Jay White is not a striker. So watching him go into a striking battle with someone like Shingo or Suzuki is always just tremendous fun.
Jay White tries to use red shoes to distract Takagi, and it sort of works. He's now got the upper hand. Oh, huge suplex right onto the back of Takagi's neck. That looked sore.
This is just so good. Makes me love wrestling again.
I think this has been the match of the night so far.
So far, I would probably
in terms of, I mean, I do love Suzuki Ishii, but just yeah, I think this has been a smidge better than that, and it's still going. How many more matches after this, or is this the pre-main
just
event?
one. Just one. It's Okada and Ibushi, which could be even better than that. In fact, I would almost think it would be. And Louis pops in. I didn't get that reference. You're right, Tempest. I know I'm right. You don't need to tell me.
Got a question, Andy says, AU Kingslayer. Wade Barrett has officially signed with NXT as part of the commentary team. What do you think of that? I think, yeah, it was obviously a shame to see Mauro go. He was part of what made TakeOver so exciting. But Barrett is people know him. He has obviously the link with NXT. He has the history of NXT. Obviously, that all went brilliantly for him. So yeah, and he's got a kind of pedigree as a commentator. Be interesting to see if he. I'm assuming they're not going to try and have him emulate
Excellent.
Emulate Mauro. But yeah, it's fun to see him back, and I could see him almost sort of doing a Pat McAfee thing and starting a feud with someone and having a match. Oh, gutbuster from Takagi.
While you were talking, Takagi went for the pumping bomber lariat, and Jay White sat out as he's wont to do to try and avoid the move. But Shingo just changed directions and hit the ropes, hitting a big lariat to the back of Jay White's head before another seated lariat for a near fall. Very good stuff. Someone, just so I can get their name, someone asked what I thought about Master Wato.
Valab Mamidipudi.
That's right. I can't find it there, but there, yes. Thoughts on Master Wato thus far? I cannot get into watching him. I agree. I am not a big fan so far. I was willing to give him the benefit of the doubt because, like, someone like Okada had a very bad debut match and ended up being very good. But he's just not doing it for me. He looks very naive almost. Like, he looks like he's not confident. And I don't like that. I want to believe that you believe in yourself.
Just while you were talking there, Jay White went for a roll-up pin with his feet on the ropes. I don't quite know how Red Shoes didn't spot that as he was looking at it as he went down for the pin. But Takagi kicked out in 2, and Red Shoes was very grumpy with Jay White. Oh my. That was weird. I don't know what
it was almost like
that move was.
Fisherman buster, a twisting fisherman
buster. It looked like he was trying to go for the switchblade. But then he changed it into another move. Movie Nation says, Tempest is my champion of WrestleTalk. That's very nice of him.
Give me time. I will hopefully find my way back to Quizzlemania and be on a show that has actual trivia this time, so I can show off in front of Sean Ross Sapp and Mr. Oh my goodness, Made in Japan. Oh, for a big near fall.
Jay White kicked out into a very close near fall there. Well, you can have my spot on Quizzlemania 20.
Oh, don't worry. I need to check facts for you. And Christopher Jazzcat says Okada deliberately had a bad debut. That is true. That is true. Don't get me wrong. But I was hoping that maybe Master Wato also had a deliberately bad debut. And it's becoming kind of clear that he didn't. He's just had a lackluster return so far.
Jay White once again using the referee.
Oh, Gato's in the ring now.
Gato was going to try and use the brass knucks, but he's had them knocked out of his hand. Switchblade? No. Misses it.
Oh, the Blade Runner. Oh, big clothesline. He's setting up for the pumping bomber, and he hits the pumping bomber.
But the brass knucks are still in the ring.
Could play into the finish. It's worth keeping in mind that I believe Jay White lost his first 3 matches last year in the tournament and ended up winning out the rest of the way and making it to the B block final. So it'll be interesting to see how he starts the tournament so far. Antonio Correa asks how the match is so far. It's been very, very good.
Yeah, this is easy.
Definitely
Oh,
one to
Red
go and
Shoes has
watch.
been knocked to the floor.
He
1,
hits Last of the
2,
Dragon.
3. Yeah, Jay
Oh,
White
dear.
would have been down for a 3 there. In fact, he's down for about a 9 so far.
No, it's still going.
But Red
He's
Shoes
still
was
down.
knocked out of the ring. I've suggested to Adam that if you're on actual Quizlemania again, that I can take your spot as a fact checker, and every time he comes to me to ask a fact, I just go, I have no idea.
Sounds fun to me. Akil Kadri says, I think you're stuck in the fact checker, Tempest. No one from WrestleTalk would be able to do that job.
Hey, I've got Google. Oh, JY hits a low blow on Takagi's Shingo's.
I will say, I do think I have the most off the top of the head knowledge when it comes to wrestling. Of those who might be up for the role.
I would say you, and then in the company, and then probably Luke.
2. Oh, big near fall on a bridging back suplex from Jay White.
Yeah, in terms of pure wrestling knowledge off the top of the head, I would say you're in the company. You're at the top, then Luke, and then kind of Adam, and then everyone else is sort of pretty similar.
Oh, that's got to be it. Jay White hits the Blade Runner.
Yeah, Jay White takes the win.
That is it.
That was definitely the best match so far. Jay White does use heel tactics to get the win. He hit a low blow. He's really selling the match though afterwards, which I like to see. He's not just standing up and he's not doing what John Cena wins, which is just rolls out the ring immediately.
That's a nice touch. Jay White has won, and they went to put the ice pack on Shingo Takagi's neck, and he's like, "Give me the ice pack. I need it, please." Very good stuff. I'm not huge on the kind of like ref bump, outside interference tactics in a match like this, in a tournament like this, but it didn't bring down my enjoyment of the match too much.
No. I always find it a bit convoluted when they get knocked out the ring and then sell it until the heel wants a pin.
It's very convenient.
Oh, he's gonna. Oh, that's the bloke who lost her, isn't it?
Yes. And Shardul Shankar said Andy's fact checking would need a Tempest fact checking.
Yeah, well, I could just Google things very slowly. Just like I do during actual Quizlemania.
Kayfabe, brother.
Shingo is not happy, and understandably so.
It is worth noting that Jay White does have Gato in his corner, so it's not like he comes back and just has no Bullet Club behind him. It does appear that they're sticking with him being, in a top position in Bullet Club, at least until they do the confrontation between himself and Evil. Movie Nation says, I would be a good commentator. Thank you, Movie Nation. I try my best. I know things. I did do like commentary for regular sports in university. It's not an easy job, but yeah, sure. Someone book me on a pro wrestling show, and we'll see.
Yeah,
we'll see what we can
I've heard that I could do like tannoys and radio.
You got a pretty good voice for it.
Or also replacing David Attenborough on British wildlife.
I know that name.
Documentaries. He's the man who looks at wildlife and talks like that. All right, main event coming up, everyone.
Alex A says Tempest is Quizlemania's dictionary corner.
He really
I think that's
is.
a reference to a show, but it's
Countdown.
Also true. Yes.
In the UK, you are Susie Dent.
Well, I have so much knowledge, honestly, from like Ruthless Aggression era onward, that if something sounds off to me, I can just be like, nope, not true. Like, especially on the last show, like when Adam said that the John Cena Randy Orton I Quit match was at bragging rights, I was like, no, it wasn't. I know that. I don't even need to Google, just because I have, like, my knowledge of everything since I started watching wrestling in 2008 is basically encyclopedic. Like, I could tell you the main event of every pay-per-view from Royal Rumble 2008 to the present, probably. You know,
what was the main event of Cyber Sunday?
what year?
I don't know. What? Yeah.
It was Batista versus Chris Jericho for the World Heavyweight Championship with Steve Austin as the guest referee. Randy Orton, JBL, and Shawn Michaels all had run-ins.
Nice.
And Batista won.
That's what I would have said too. See, that's the kind of knowledge that I just don't retain that kind of knowledge. If it was a Harry Potter quiz, yes. But once I've watched a pay-per-view, I very rarely revisit it. So yeah, I don't unless it's a Royal Rumble, in which case I probably will watch it a few times because I just love the Royal Rumble match. Yeah.
Well, it's like, for the longest time I thought it was a curse, because I was like, I have this useless knowledge of pro wrestling. What am I ever going to do with that? And now look at me. Now I have a job where I can use it. This really is like all the stars.
Speaking of which, I was going to fire you, so now I'm afraid you don't have a job you can use it anymore.
Oh, shame.
I know.
Louis Dangor says, Tempest, name me 5 matches that happened on Raw this week. I don't even know if there were 5 matches on Raw this week, but there was Seth Rollins and Dominic Mysterio in a cage. There was the 2 tag champs going head-to-head. There was Keith Lee versus Drew McIntyre. I got 3. Is that? Oh, there was Mickey James and Asuka with the weird finish. That's 4.
Did the Hurt Business have something?
They fought.
Well, you had Braun in Raw Underground.
Yeah,
I guess that counts as a match.
Didn't Shayna and Nia Jax face somebody or something? That's good enough for me. I don't care. I don't need your approval.
Shayna and Nia Jax killed Lana and Natalia.
That's right. I don't need your approval, Lewis. The Ragtag Ramble says, name the 2007 Cyber Sunday main event. That was Batista and The Undertaker for the World Heavyweight Championship, also with Steve Austin as the guest referee. Batista won. It was the only time he got a clean win over The Undertaker that year. I'm telling you, I can do this. I can do this all day.
I can barely tell you the main event of the last show.
What of Payback, I guess it was. Yeah, it was.
Was it Batista against someone?
Yeah, it was Steve Austin as the guest referee.
Nice.
It was The Fiend and Braun Strowman, and they broke the ring, and then Roman Reigns came out and won the match.
It was.
The bell has rung, but they're having a standoff.
Yeah, they're admiring how attractive the other one is.
They're 2 good-looking chaps.
I prefer Okada I prefer everyone in tights rather than just normal trunks, I have to say. They almost look like they don't want to fight each other. Or are they kind of hyping up, wow, this is the first time we've kind of had a really big match since Wrestle Kingdom?
Probably, yes. Who have you got in this one? We forgot to do
I have
Shingo and Jay.
A 30-minute time limit draw.
That is not a bad pick, honestly. And this also comes from Christopher Jazzcat, who asks who we are picking in this one. Because they're 1-1 in their last 2 matches. Like, Ibushi won in the G1 last year, and then Okada retained the title at Wrestle Kingdom. So it's tough. I really don't know. Ibushi needs a win. I'll say Ibushi's going to win this one.
Someone's asked who your favorite wrestler is.
I believe I already have mentioned in this chat or in this stream, Hiromu Takahashi is my favorite wrestler right now. My favorite wrestler of all time is Edge, but Hiroshi Tanahashi and Bret Hart are also up there. I have an Edge tattoo up here.
You do have an Edge tattoo.
I'm a big Edge fan.
And Louis says, when I do G1 coverage at Tempest, we'll have a quiz off and I'll win. That's because you Google everything, Louis. And also, you're not going to be doing G1 coverage. I've banned it.
Yes. Louis beat me in a bet on who one set of Raw Tag Team Champions have been ever, because I forgot that Dolph Ziggler and Bobby Roode, the famously historic Raw Tag Team Champions, Bobby Roode.
But I mean, Louis did have a list of them on his screen when he asked you that. So.
Oh, absolutely.
What was I going to say? No, the moment that Ollie suggested that we do this, Louis was immediately in there trying to get on every single stream. But then I said, I'll do it. And obviously they didn't want Louis on it. So I got chosen instead.
Excellent. You're much more personable.
Exactly. Much more attractive, much more mature, much more knowledgeable.
Shardula Shankar says, Captain Tempest America. Excuse me. That would be Captain Tempest Canuck. I am a Canadian, sir.
No, you're Mexican. Look at your mask.
Yes, of course.
He's half Mexican, half Canadian.
There can never be a Canadian wearing a lucha mask and trying to make a name for himself as a Canadian generic luchador. That would be just...
Exactly. That would be stupid with a kind of gingerish beard.
Yeah. Who could possibly do something like that?
Are you El Generico?
Kayfabe. Akil Kadri says, can Andy Datson really fire you, Tempest? Is he the Ollie Davis of the WrestleTalk website? I mean, if you wanted to.
I guess I could.
if you wanted to.
If I wanted to, I could, but I'm not. I don't want to. You're far too helpful.
Yes, I would like to think I'm virtually irreplaceable.
Virtually. If someone else actually, if someone useful came along, then maybe. But right now.
AU Kingslayer says, I'm going to test your knowledge. What was the name of John Cena's rap album released in 2005? That would be You Can't See Me, with John Cena and The Trademark, who's also his cousin. I didn't know that until recently, actually. Oh, I see what he's talking about. I see what the reference to. Alex A points out that when I said I could do this all day, that's the Captain America line.
While Tempest is half Canadian, half Mexican, I'm half English, half Swedish. So if there are any Swedish wrestlers out there, let me know, because I'm not sure I know any of them. Who?
Just compare you to any of them.
Yes.
Bernard Bunting says, who's in the B block? I mean, Google exists, but Hiroshi Tanahashi, Tetsuya Naito, Evil, Sonata, Toru Yano, Zack Sabre Jr.
Brian turning on the fans there, turning heel, telling them to Google things. That's why we're here, Brian. We're here to help.
Yes. There's a few others. But those are the biggest ones. Most of LIJ is in the B block this year.
Who was the first person to pin Mr. Perfect in the WWE, says Kingslayer.
See, that's before my time. That's where things get a little bit dicey. I want to say it was like Kerry Von Erich, the Texas Tornado.
They're really testing you here. Who did Trademark have a kayfabe relationship with in 2007 in TNA?
I don't watch TNA.
Tempest, if you are Canadian, translate this Ibushi report. Le match et Jay White est un bon lutteur. I mean, I think even I could translate that.
Do it then.
No,
I don't speak French. I'm a real Canadian, not one of them fake French Canadians. No, I kid.
Andy keeps calling Tempest Brian. That's because he looks like my friend Brian, who has a blue, green, and yellow head.
Yes, they're very common in certain parts of the world.
especially in Southeast England.
Yes, of course. T-Rav THC says Takahashi is my favorite in New Japan right now. We have that in common.
Apparently, it was Karen Angle who Trademark had a relationship with.
I guess that would be Karen Jarrett now. That's interesting. I did not know that.
The match so far, by the way, for people watching the match, has been sort of slow to start, but they're kind of building up slowly. Just a big drop kick just hit. Ibushi seems to be sort of firing up. Okada appears to have cut his face.
It's pretty standard with Okada matches. They tend to start slow and build and build and build and build until they reach their crescendo, and you're like, oh my goodness, this is one of the best matches I've ever seen. And Ibushi has just hit a big kick to the chest as he starts to fire up the crowd.
Who said Woodstock was to rock and roll what WrestleMania is to wrestling?
Huh. I feel like all of these questions are from like the 80s, which was like 10 years before I was born.
I was watching a Canadian YouTuber yesterday, and he was talking about Canadian about his favorite country singers, and I just started watching someone called what was his name? Something Chesney. And I recommend it.
Familiar.
I do love country music. Who's your favorite country music star, Brian? Tempest. Sorry, you look so much like him.
I will say I'm not a fan of country music, but if I have to pick one, I'll say John Denver, simply for "Take Me Home, Country Roads," which is the greatest song ever written.
Oh, there's something soulful about country music.
If you get me drunk in a pub, that is the song I will do karaoke to. Guarantee. Someone asked who the first ROH Pure champion was. It was AJ Styles, and he beat CM Punk. See, that's a little bit more modern. I can get stuff like that.
Test my knowledge, but not about wrestling. Do Harry Potter or something.
Harry Potter. How do you get into the Ravenclaw common room?
You don't. You have to answer a riddle. Come on, Brian. You have to answer a riddle or a question asked by the Eagle door knocker.
Very good. It's been quite a while since I read the books.
I recently did a quiz with 2,000 people, and I came joint first, so I'm not going to lose this.
Goodness gracious! At least you're putting that knowledge to good work.
Oh, absolutely.
To good use. Someone had asked who we thought was going to win the A block. I think we kind of already said. You said Ishii.
I don't think he's going to win, but I would have liked to have seen him win.
Okay. Well, then who do you think is going to win?
One of these two.
One of these two? That's probably a good pick. If I had to put money on it, I would probably say Okada is going to win. Someone said, would you like to see Ricochet in New Japan Pro Wrestling? We kind of touched on that earlier. We both named him as someone we'd like to see back.
Rob Zilla, feel free to test my football soccer knowledge. It's relatively good. But of course, we are watching wrestling.
Yes.
Why would you do a neck breaker to Ibushi? His neck's already been hurt.
Need it. She doesn't need more trauma.
Apparently, Anguilla Roja is a Swedish professional wrestler from Gothenburg. I'm assuming he means Gothenburg, Sweden, or as you say in Sweden, Göteborg. Anguilla, that's a very Swedish name.
We've got the question, how many people have won the G1 and subsequently won the main event of the January 4th show? Only one, actually. It was Hiroshi Tanahashi.
Did he really call it the January 4th show?
Yeah. I mean, I will give him the benefit of the doubt partially because, Wrestle Kingdom is only 14 years old. But at the same time, the winner of the G1 has only gotten the title shot at Wrestle Kingdom in like the last 8 years.
Yeah.
So regardless, in those 8 years, only once has the person actually won, and that was Tanahashi when he won the G1 in 2018 and beat Kenny Omega at Wrestle Kingdom 13 2 years ago. Otherwise, it is very likely that the IWGP Heavyweight Champion retains the title in the Tokyo Dome.
Do we think they'll do a time limit draw? There's every chance. I think this match has been going about 10 minutes now. So I'd be surprised, but I definitely wouldn't put it past them.
I wouldn't be that surprised, honestly. If they're going to do it, I think this is going to be the match. I don't know how many other matches could see a time limit draw this year, but this would definitely be one. And I think it would be a good way to kind of set, oh my, that's a huge moonsault, an Asai moonsault from Ibushi to the floor.
Kingslayer says, can you name every player to win the Golden Boy Award since 2003? No, I can't. There you go.
I don't even know what that is. I'm guessing that's a football thing.
I think, yes, what it is. But no, that's not really my level of knowledge, I have to say.
Let's see what else we got here. T-Rap THC says, do you feel Takahashi should have been in the G1? If you mean Hiromu Takahashi, I think it would have been a good choice to have him in there. If you mean Yujiro Takahashi, no, I don't think he should have been in there.
No. Someone's suggesting they're going to do this as a time limit draw and then have this as the final as a kind of like, oh, but they drew last time.
Well, that's not what they do. That would be much more of a WWE way of booking this. Like, oh, they drew. They need to decide this in the actual final. Like, that's just not really how it works. You know, it's almost mathematically impossible for there to be like a dead set tie in points at the very end with no tiebreakers or anything like that. So someone will win the block without needing to do a rematch of some sort.
Username asked me, how many points do you get in football from scoring a goal? I mean, in English football, you get 1. In American football, for scoring a touchdown, I believe it's 6. And you get 1 point for a field goal.
Well,
oh, God, he almost didn't hit that.
Almost missed the Hurricane Rana, and it looks like he knew it, too.
Okada had to hit the move on himself, basically. Here's the thing. Here's the stupidest thing about American football, or in my opinion, is that there is one guy whose job it is to kick the ball, and that is his only job. And he gets paid like hundreds of thousands of dollars for that. Like, surely one of the other team could kick the ball. It can't be that difficult. I know it's all about kind of leg fatigue and stuff, but my God. What an easy job. Isn't there someone who also is his job to only do the throws to the kicker? The spiker, whatever they're called.
What, the guy who does the snaps.
Snaps, that's the one.
Well, at least he's also a lineman.
Oh, is he? Okay.
He will do other things as well.
I am a lineman for the county. And I drive the main road.
What else? We had missed one or two here. Antonio Correa asks, Tempest, also Jay White to win the block. Also, what part of Canada are you from? I am from Toronto. Sometimes regrettably, other times not. Whenever the Raptors win, I'm happy to be from here, but that didn't happen this year. So, MI4997 says, I wish Ishii at least won a block for once. We'll see. JPS Pet Nation says, favorite New Japan match ever?
The Iron Man match, Okada Omega.
Well, it wasn't an Iron Man match. It was
the Iron Man match, the one that went an hour and 10 minutes, where it was.
Yeah, that
the 2 out. Was it the 2 out of 3 falls one?
2 out of 3 falls. Yeah. That is probably the best match of all time. that was my all-time favorite match, period. But I think the Revolution tag match between the Young Bucks and Omega and Page has surpassed that now.
That was wonderful.
That was the best match I've ever seen live, like by quite a bit.
How many times had Man City won the league before 2012? It depends if you mean the English First Division or just Premier League, because they hadn't won it before 2012. In the Premier League, they had won it in the UK. When was the first Premier League season? I believe it was 92-93.
They're now exchanging strikes. Okada is beckoning for Ibushi to hit him harder.
And Mike Jones, yes, I am very excited for the new Hogwarts game. It is the main reason I'm buying probably a PS5.
I'm also very excited. I'm not as much of a Harry Potter guy as you are, but I have been very much looking forward to a game like that for a very long time.
Are you going to get a PS5 or an Xbox next generation?
Eventually. I don't know if I'll get one at launch or anything like that, but eventually, yes. And it was also pointed out that Tanahashi wasn't supposed to win the year that he won the G1 and faced Kenny, but Kenny... this says Kenny was supposed to drop the title at Madison Square Garden. I don't think that's true either. The report that I saw was that Kenny was going to hold the title for another year and face Ibushi at Wrestle Kingdom 14. But
it looks like one of our viewers was at the Revolution show for that tag match. Said he was absolutely spent after the match. So you can imagine what the people in the ring were like.
Yeah, well, so was most of the crowd as we all kind of went for a bathroom break during the women's title match, unfortunately.
So this match is gone about 16, 17 minutes now.
That's what I will say about these kind of matches, like Okada G1 matches. They just
spinning tombstone from Okada.
Oh my!
Setting up for the Rain Umeka. Oh no, he's not.
Oh God!
He's working on the arm first.
It's his stupid Cobra Clutch submission finisher, and I hate it. I absolutely hate this finish.
I do not buy into this at all.
Well, he won all of his matches in the New Japan Cup with this move, and it's just so boring.
I do not play Fortnite. No, Kingsley. I think I've played it twice in my life.
Yeah, I think I played it the day it came out and wasn't a huge fan and dropped it there. Alex,
right now I'm playing Destiny 2.
Of yours. I don't even have time. I was playing Fall Guys a lot for a while.
I was too, but it wasn't working on my laptop because my laptop wasn't very good. So the bit rate was so bad that my character just kept falling over for absolutely no reason, and I got so angry that I had to stop. I'd be running in a straight line, wouldn't press any buttons, and my character would just fall over sideways, and I had enough.
That's a shame. Sorry to hear that. They also point out, Alex says, Spider-Man Miles Morales. I'm very excited for that game as well as the new God of War. Movie Nation says, if you draw the match here, they should feud. I mean, I'm sure they'll have another match at some point, but
yeah, I mean, they will certainly feud at some point in the future.
Like you have to also kind of understand that like feuds in New Japan aren't as they are in WWE, where like these two are in a feud, so they will just do segments involving each other every single week for 4 months. A feud in New Japan can last much longer, and they will have a match at this big show, and then like 4 months later they will have another match.
V-trigger from Ibushi onto Okada there.
Oh, he's going for the Kamigoye.
Standing sort of shotgun drop kick to Ibushi. Things there.
Are really firing up now.
Another good drop kick from Okada.
There's the beautiful drop kick.
It's a bunch of games, but game-related questions. What's my favorite PS1 game? Definitely Hogs of War. If you haven't played it, you should definitely play it. Did Luke ever finish Castlevania? As far as I know, he did not. Someone saying Among Us is where it's at right now. So fun. I've seen a lot of memes about Among Us, and I haven't played it.
Bomaye! Ibushi hits the Bomaye. He's setting up for the Kamigoye. He hits the Kamigoye. Oh my god.
Oh, he's won!
Oh my god!
Just
Ibushi
like that.
has beaten
Ibushi
Okada. I picked right. Look at that.
Like absolutely clean.
Wow. I mean,
like there
Ibushi needed a
there wasn't
win,
anything not clean about that. That was just
holy
have a
smokes.
knee in the face.
I mean, yeah, like Ibushi needed a big win. He's lost a lot this year, so this doesn't really surprise me, but he just beat him. Just the better man beat him.
Who's the best Tekken character? I don't really play Tekken. That green guy.
The panda. I forget what his name is, but King. King is the best Tekken character because you can dress him up like Kazuchika Okada.
Oh,
that's a real thing. Someone asked who Kazuchika Okada should. Mike Jones asked if you were to choose a tag partner for Okada to win the IWGP tag titles, who would it be? I don't really see him pairing up with anybody right now. I'd like to see like him and Tanahashi as a real tag team would be cool. If Nakamura went back, it would be him and Nakamura. Maybe like someone else in Chaos, like Goto or Ishii.
We've got a couple of super chats. Kirik says, "Well, that was fun, dudes. Going to bed. See y'all. Thank you for joining us, Kirik. Very nice to meet you." The Zornice says, "Here's to Ibushi." Absolutely. No. That was a good, very nice start to the G1. I think that it was a good introduction. Nothing too crazy, but there's still a lot of matchups to go to look forward to.
This is a long tournament. We've got a long next month to go, but this is a very good start.
I wouldn't be surprised at all if Ibushi did win the block.
Yep.
Especially after that. That feels like a big turning point for him. After a tough year, and he is now pointing at me.
Yep, that's your first win, pal. It's always interesting. Like, my hat goes off to Geto for booking. Oh, Panda is the Panda's name in Tekken. Thank you, Mike Jones, for pointing that out. But my hat goes off to Geto for being able to book the G1 like he does. Like, the amount of intricacy that goes into booking a tournament this long with so many moving parts and everything needs to make sense and set up new things for the future. It's just incredible.
He's going to talk. Promo. I'll translate. Oh, mate, I'm so glad I won that match. Oh, it's really great that you all came out to see me. But you fans, you stink. And they're all clapping for some reason. I'm assuming this is a heel promo.
This is what we could really use.
I love Okada, but I'm really glad I kicked him in the head. He deserved it for not using the Rainmaker. The G1 Classic is my favorite. Who's your favorite Tekken character? He asks.
I already said King.
No. That's what Ibushi is saying.
I understand. He needs to listen to us too.
All right.
He can go back and watch our stream.
And I love Hogs of War on the PS1.
Oh yeah, the answer to that question is Crash Bandicoot 3.
Wow, Andy and Brian are so good at live coverage. Oh well, it was nice of them to end the promo like that. And
there's no one named Brian in this.
Sorry,
chat.
Andy and Tempest. Cool. You look so much like Brian. He's got this really weird face, which is like blue, green, yellow with a yellow man on it. I'm shocked. Ibushi for the win. Loved it, says Christopher Jazzcat. Absolutely, Christopher. Thank you very much for all your super chats tonight. It's been very much appreciated. Tell your friends about these streams. We will be doing them throughout the next month. And hopefully this will open the doors to more New Japan coverage in the future. I know we normally cover at least Wrestle Kingdom every year. But yeah, we would love to cover more, obviously. It's just as long as you guys can prove that there is an appetite for it, we will continue to do it because we love to watch it. It's just that we sometimes, obviously the shows are at a very unusual time for a lot of us. So sometimes it's difficult to do them. But yeah, if you keep watching, we will keep streaming. But yes, anyway, that is, I think, all we have time for today on this stream. So thank you all very much for watching. If you, God, I haven't done one of these before. I'm assuming lots of things are going to appear on the screen right now. So subscribe to the channel, click the bell for notifications, like the video, share it all the places you can, and support WrestleTalk on Patreon, support Parts Unknown on Patreon. Do all of those things. Be a wonderful person. I've been Andy Datson. Over there has been Tempest, and we will see you on Wednesday morning for the next show. So yes, thank you very much. You've all been brilliant.